Hi everyone. As a high school science teacher, I'm always showing students new things, new skills, and I ask them to do various questions and perform various tasks. And often they say, "This is too hard, sir, I don't know how to do it." But the thing is about schooling and life in general, when you first try to do something, you might not be that good at it. But through practice, and that's what it's about, practice, you get better at something. You learn as you go. So sure, you learn from the teacher, but then you also learn just by doing things. Recently, we had a colossal eucalypt cut down in our front yard, and the tree fellas cut the tree into gigantic piles of manageable chunks. This is what's left. I'm working my way through it, chopping it down for use in our fireplace. A few years ago, we had another tree cut down, and I used an axe to try to cut all these blocks of wood. The problem with an axe, though, I realised way too late, is that it often gets jammed. The axe gets stuck between the layers that make up the wood, and you spend a huge amount of time trying to unjam it. The last time I did this a few years ago, I spent much more time unjamming the axe than I did actually chopping. So axes really aren't designed to cut blocks of wood like this. They just get jammed in. They're really designed to cut sideways when you're cutting into a tree that way, and you cut that side and then that side, and then you can sort of eventually cut big divots, and it just gets bigger and bigger. So axes aren't all that good for this purpose. An axe can still work if you have the time and the patience, and it probably helps if you're stronger, but an axe is not really the tool for this job. And that's where a block splitter comes in. The block splitter has a much wider blade, and when it digs into the wood, it literally splits it apart because of the shape of the block splitter. Another thing I realised is that if you chop down at the wrong angle, the block splitter doesn't really cut into the wood. It's much easier if you cut between the circles of the wood, the grain of the wood, because then it splits much more easily. If you look up close, you can actually see the rings of the tree. It's much easier to cut down in between the grain of the wood like that, rather than across, because when you cut it like that, the wood splits off much more easily. Cutting down the middle or across the layers doesn't work very well at all, but the wood splits apart easily when you cut between the layers. So there you go. Whether you're a student or an adult, you always have to learn new things. I thought at first that the axe was okay, but then I learned about the block splitter, which works much more easily. So with a bit of knowledge and with practice, you get better at something. Now, I'm obviously not an expert wood chopper, but it's amazing how often I do something for the first time and I don't do it very well, but then I get better through practice or learn some new trick that makes it easier. It really gives me confidence whenever I try anything new. I don't have to be brilliant at it, but I'll improve. Thanks for watching.